a future truly set.
What is globalization? What does it mean? If we simply look at the definition, globalization is the process of interaction and integration among the people, companies, and governments of different nations. A process driven by international trade and investment, aided by information technology. But is the meaning really so simple? Does the term globalization have such a close-ended answer? Globalization in the modern concept is an ongoing process which has its own pros and cons. It impacts not just businesses and occupations, but also cultures, religion, and ethnicity. It links people, cities, and countries, bringing them closer than they've ever been. This thus has an impact on the art, music, and literature of every different region and society. Through this short video, we try to explain what the impacts of globalization are on the art, music, and literature of India.
Art. Globalization has had a strong impact on the art styles of different countries. The impact has varied from country to country, but the influence of the West or the Western countries is clearly visible. India, being a diverse country, was affected significantly by the British colonization. The classical Indian art forms such as Bharatnatyam, Kuchipudi, Mohiniyattam, Kathak, or Odissi in dance, and Malwa Rajputayan and Patachitra in painting were slowly replaced with ballroom dance and modern art. The evolution of art in India has been so drastic that today, when we think of performing arts, we think about gymnastics, hip hop, or maybe even contemporary dance. And when we talk about painting, it's all about sketching and doodling. In fact, the influence of Western culture on Indian arts has been so much that today we even consider photography and cartooning as form of arts. Such has been the effect of globalization. Our traditional forms of art are dying, whereas foreign art forms are taking center stage.
Music. If there's one thing that has changed drastically over the past few decades, it has been music. Globalization has contributed a lot to this change. Indian music is known worldwide. Right from the times of Tanzan in the Mughal king Akbar's empire to Jagjit Singh in our parents' generation, Indian music has had more focus on vocals than instrumentals. Lyrics have always played an important part in Indian music. But with the advent of globalization, this has changed dramatically. In the past few years, the concept of discos and EDM or electronic dance music have taken the forefront. The rich lyrics and emotions expressed through each song is somehow now fading away. Even in most Bollywood Hindi soundtracks, we now find rap portions and sections of metal music which isn't generally associated with Indian music. Another feature of Indian music that now seems to be fading away is the concept of releasing individual tracks through Indian cinema. Influenced by English music, the concept of releasing music as a collection of songs in an album is starting to creep in. This, though not necessarily a negative thing, has changed Indian music.
Literature. Human beings have always been storytellers. Right from the time of the Stone Age, when sharpened rocks were used to engrave stick figures on cave walls, we humans have always been storytellers. The form of telling stories has changed over the years, from wall painting to writing to plays and eventually to movies. But the fact has remained that we were, we are, and will always be storytellers. Traditional Indian writings have evolved with the advent of globalization. A.K. Ramanujan considered English to be his father tongue as he preferred reading and telling tales in Tamil or Kannada. But today, most of the youth of India is more confident speaking in English than they are in their mother tongue. This has impacted our literature immensely as there are writers today such as Chetan Bhagat who write in what is commonly known as Hinglish. Though there also are certain writers such as Amish who are bringing back and glorifying Indian mythologies with books such as the SHIVA trilogy, The impact of globalization on Indian literature is evident as our use of language has somehow changed to Hinglish, a common ground between Hindi and English. Our TV series and movies have also faced the effect of globalization as the youth somehow seems to be demanding more of what we see in Hollywood movies. There are more crime dramas on Indian television today than there were a few decades back. Simultaneously, the family dramas and comedies about one big happy family such as Khichdi or Hum Saath Saath Hain have disappeared. Our movies are trying to win an Oscar, which is somehow supposed to indicate that we are moving ahead. But where is our own stamp on movies when we are only trying to copy the success of the West?
Overall, globalization is a modern concept, bringing together various cultures and societies, having its own pros and cons. But, in the words of Jimmy Carter, globalization, as defined by the rich people like us, is a very nice thing. You're talking about the internet, you're talking about cell phones, you're talking about computers. But the fact is, this doesn't affect 2/3 of the people of the world.